Good evening. My name is Joel Furco, and I'm one of the instrumental educators in District 196. And on behalf of our 6 middle schools and our lovely students and faculty, we'd like to welcome you to Apple Valley this evening and what will prove to be a wonderful concert. We've had a great day of music making. The kids have worked very hard, but so do washing machines. And I'm sure they came home tonight and they were like very tired, but hopefully they felt a sense of accomplishment. And that could not have been done without our amazing guest conductor today, Mr. Bill Henry. I met Mr. Henry way back in 1996 when I was a student teacher of his at Rosemount High School. And the first thing that came to my mind when I met this man was, wow, he has so much energy and passion for what he does and moves students in that direction to have that same passion about what they're doing. And I know he has retired from our district, but he still brought that passion and love for music and energy today. And it is with a great honor that I welcome a friend, a mentor to the stage. Here is Mr. Bill Henry.
This thing on, there we go. Sometimes there's a switch, sometimes there's not. Well, welcome to this concert. I'm very excited about what you're going to hear. It was really an enjoyable day for me, very honestly, to work with these guys who have improved tremendously and worked so hard. How many days have you heard your son or daughter play their band instrument like 5 or 6 hours? Does that ever happen? Probably not. And I'll be honest with you, for me to conduct this amount of time is really, I'll say it's a challenge for everybody as far as getting the endurance to get through the day. But it was really an enjoyable day, and I think you're going to enjoy what they have to do. I like my concerts when I program a concert to be a little bit educational and learn something, not only for these guys on stage, but sometimes for the audience. So what I want to do to start is I want to take you back to the beginning of the 20th century, beginning of the 1900s. And what's going on at that time. People aren't all that different. They still, they work hard, they raise families, they're looking for entertainment. But think of all the things that aren't around in 1900. No cell phones. Hallelujah, right? For some of you, no computers. There's no television. Radio isn't really invented yet. Movies? No. So what do you think they did for entertainment? Or what do you think they looked forward to? One of the most enjoyable things that was absolutely a huge event in town is when one of the professional bands came touring into town. Either that or the circus. Those are kind of the two really big things that happened in town. And the name, and he's still probably thought of as being the most famous band musician ever, that you probably recognize is John Philip Sousa, right? John Philip Sousa, everybody still knows it, and it's been about 100 years since he died. Not quite, but near 100 years. He did for 40 years as a professional band. John Philip Sousa took his band, he did 15,000 concerts. Now you multiply that out, and that's like more than one concert every day. So he's traveling around just forever and ever. It's kind of an amazing thing. And he was known as the March King. That was one of the things that he was known for. And to be honest, in this 1900 era, marches were the main thing that had been written for band. Everything had been written to that point, or not everything, but the vast majority was written for orchestras. So John Philip Sousa said, well, I need to write some things for band, and I want some things that the audience really enjoys. I'm going to write some marches. And they used marches to get your attention, and to kind of give you something to tap your feet to, and to give you some nice melodies that you could hum along. Da, 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 oh yeah, away you go. And that's what it was. And they used the marches for that. So we're going to start out with a march not written by Sousa, but it's another famous march composer that actually had a lot of connections to the circus that went around as well. And it is exactly that. It's the attention getter. It's a march. It sort of cleanses the palate and says, hey, welcome to the concert. Let's have some fun. Let's see what we've got that you can really enjoy. So we're going to do Rough Riders right now. We good? They would actually do a march almost every other number. So they do a march, then something else, and then another march and something else, and they get done with the concert and the people come and say, oh, I like those marches the best. They were really fun. So it was. So then what did Sousa's band play? If they didn't have marches, what were they going to play for an audience? Well, an awful lot of times, it ended up being what they called orchestra transcriptions, which basically means that some arranger took an orchestra piece and said, well, let's make the piece for band, because the instrumentation is obviously quite a bit different. And what we want to do is we want to make it so that the band can play an orchestra piece. Now, one of the most famous composers of all time, and certainly somebody that you've all heard of, is Mozart. Mozart didn't write for band because band didn't exist for Mozart. In fact, all the instruments weren't even invented back in the end of the 1700s. But he's just an amazing composer, wrote some wonderful music, wrote some things that absolutely have withstood the test of time. So it's just put together really well. A lot of times it's very refined. Now, he wrote this particular piece of music, Symphony Number 10, when he was 14 years old. Now, how many people in the room are 14? How many symphonies have you written at this point?
0.
Yeah, 0. That's the way it goes. He was a prodigy. He's unbelievable as far as what he could do. And he only lived to be 35 years old, but he wrote a tremendous amount of music. So this is actually a movement directly from Symphony Number 10. It's the third movement of Mozart's symphony. I'm going to say this as much for these guys as for you. So Mozart, at that particular time, everything is refined, everything is classy, everything is in its place, everything is exactly precise. Band, everything is exactly precise. As far as instruments that Mozart had in that symphony, he had a string section. He used 2 horns and 2 oboes, because those were the most refined and kind of the only wind instruments or band instruments that were existing back in 1770. Things have changed, not only since Mozart's time, but in Sousa's time. And now the kinds of music that is being written for band. In fact, we're going to play a piece that's written in 2019, so we're going to jump forward 100 years or so. And what happens is, obviously, we have a whole lot of different instrumentation, the modern band. All of the instruments, and there are many of them that developed really seriously in the 1800s and got to be more and more refined as we went through the 20th century. And the one instrument that has really changed a ton is actually the percussion section. Now you've got this wonderful percussion section that it's an outstanding percussion section that you have up there that aren't just playing the bass drum and the snare and the cymbals and the timpani, which is what they had for years and years and years. Even Sousa's band was kind of that way, maybe little bells. Now they've got everything from all sorts of cymbals to toms and drums and xylophones and marimbas and vibes and you name it. They've got all sorts of things to play back there. And so what happens is the music over the course of that time has gotten, I'll say, much more dynamic. There's a whole lot of different sounds. Has a lot more dissonance. Sometimes you're going to say, well, this doesn't sound like Mozart at all. And it doesn't. There's really a whole lot of difference. And some people might say it's more angular and more exciting. So you're going to hear a lot of difference in the music for this next one. Now, 3, 2, 1 is a countdown. I told the kids back in the 1960s when I was their age, they had all the Apollo programs going, and you'd sit on television. Some of you may remember some of this. Sit on television and they'd have the rocket and you'd watch it on the launch pad and they'd have the countdown on the television and you're looking at it. It's going, oh, here it comes, and then down 1 minute it's going to happen. It would be all exciting. You're waiting for the time when it actually blasts off. And that's the kind of emotion and theme that the composer was thinking about when he wrote this particular piece. It doesn't have to be a rocket launch. It's kind of just the anticipation of something coming up that's really momentous. And you build the anticipation, and then at that one given moment, kabam! And things really happen. In fact, they compared it to being shot out of a cannon at a particular point, and that's kind of what it was. Anticipate, and then go! And then you're into the experience, you're into the adventure, and it's just going and having a good time all the way through. So this is a brand new piece, 3, 2, 1. you can hear it. And you'll hear that kind of stuff. The bands in high school and bands all over the place will be playing literature like that now that really has a lot of excitement to it and a lot of percussion and just a lot of different sounds. You like that? One of my favorite parts in the whole piece, to hear the trombones go, meow. That's just a neat effect. I really like it. And that's kind of what it is. It's all about the effects. Okay, so on the next part of the program, sometimes what they do, this is another one written fairly recently, the last 10 years. It's called At Morning's Light, or At Morning's First Light. And you can imagine what this means. I mean, it's the beginning of a day when dawn is just happening. And Gillingham, what he wanted to do in writing this is he wanted to just write something that's beautiful. He said, well, I want you to kind of convey the feeling of what it's like when you're getting up in the morning. And maybe it's Saturday morning, like tomorrow, when it's going to be 60 out, like tomorrow, and the sun's going to be out, and it's Saturday, and I don't have to go to band for 8 hours and play. I can do what I want. It's going to be just a fantastic day. So Gillingham says, well, a day like that, let's write it like that, where everything is just cool and everything's pretty, and it all feels good. And that's what this particular music is supposed to be about. At Morning's First Light. So 8 notes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Patrick Bentz. I'm also another band teacher in the school district. And I'd like to take a minute before Mr. Henry introduces the last piece to thank a few folks. First of all, in this building, we'd really like to thank the band directors here, Corey Dazens and David Scalise, who help facilitate and help us get things that we need, instruments to borrow, chairs and stands and such. Cliff Dodge, who runs the facility in the theater department, and the excellent work that he does helping us feel at home in this space. It's always been great, and for the sound and the lights and the video recording. And also to the Apple Valley administration for allowing us to use this space on their day-to-day. So I'd like to thank the Apple Valley folks. Let's give them a hand. And then also like to thank our building administrators from all of the 6 middle schools, and for the things that they do at the building level that help facilitate events like this and help make it so that our students can achieve at the level that they do, and that they have these opportunities, and that they allow us to come together and be released from our own day-to-days to come and bring our kids together and have this really remarkable experience. So if there are any building administrators who are here tonight, could you stand or give a wave and be recognized? Thank you so much. Give them a hand. And then, since this is a district-wide event, and so we always make it a point to send an invitation to our school board and district cabinet members, because their support makes events like this happen, and we really hope that we are of the AAA philosophy. I really think that these kids really establish the arts of the AAA philosophy here. And so I know that Mary Krieger sends her wishes. She wasn't able to be with us tonight, but I do know that I believe Jackie Magnuson and Corey Johnson are here tonight. If you guys would stand if you're in the room. Thank you so much. And those are all my thank yous, so I will return the mic to Mr. Henry.
Mr. Bentz was one of my students at Eastview back in the day. Yeah. Really is my relationship with this district goes back to 1981, so I've been here a long time. And I'm very, very proud of what the band program in this district has done over the course of that time and continues to do. You need to know that bands in particular, in this particular school district, are really respected so much throughout the state of Minnesota and the region. People know that 196, no matter what high school you're going to, produces some outstanding musicians. You look at the list of all-state kids, and you see the list of all the all-state groups, and you'll see 196 kid after 196 kid. And many of these kids on stage will get opportunities to play in other honor bands, and this district is always so well represented. That has an awful lot to do with the work that your band directors do. That's the elementary band directors in 5th grade that get them off to such a good start. And particularly for today, it's the middle school people that work so hard to try to get these kids going. And they really do. I was at the Eastview High School for the last half of my career, basically. I was at Rosemont High School prior to that for about 14 years. And I always considered myself so fortunate. Eastview was one school that we took students from a lot of different areas. And we were so fortunate because we had middle school band directors that taught kids so well and prepared them so well for high school. You need to know, and you need to know, students that are on stage, your band directors are absolutely outstanding. You don't get a chance so much to, It's really hard sometimes because you honestly, all you see is this. You go, oh yeah, here comes the band concert again. Yeah, I think that sounded pretty good. Yeah, I think it's ready to go. That's what happens. And it isn't until you see what's happening in so many other districts and schools that you start to realize, wow, that 196 program was really something. And it really is. I'm tremendously proud to consider myself a colleague and friend of so many of these band directors. We need to thank you guys. This doesn't happen without the parents supporting the kids. That's helping buy the instrument. That's helping encourage them to practice. That's supporting them by coming to the program. The parent help to try to keep them engaged in band is tremendously important. So thank you for that. That's really, really an important piece. Yeah, parents. But tonight, in this particular event, it's really about these kids on stage. They have, as we've already said, they've worked incredibly hard. They've come tremendous long way just from this morning. You should hear the first few notes we played this morning. Remember it? We tried a B-flat scale, and we're going, oh, what's that? We got people playing A's and B's, and then this comes out at the end of the night, which is just amazing. They've done so well to do that. I look forward to watching these guys. They have, as they go to high school, again, no matter what high school they go to next year, they have so much in front of them. Not only great music that is just stuff tonight and at another level and even higher and more emotional and more exciting and more something. The music gets better and better and better as you go through. Then the people that you get to be around. The kids in band are so focused and they're so into what they do, and it's something to just be around kids like that really is great for everybody. And then finally the things that they get to do, whether it's, hey, I get to go on a band trip, or hey, I get to play in the pep band for the state hockey tournament, or hey, I get to play a contest someplace. All those kinds of things are just the kinds of things that they're marked someplace, although that's another big part of the program. All those things they just have in front of them. It's just sitting there right now. And I look forward to them having the opportunity to do that. I really, truly believe this. I don't think there is much in the world that is as difficult as playing an instrument in a musical group. And I want you to think about it for 1 second. What you have to do in order to be a successful, serious musician, first of all, you have to have the physical skill to play an instrument really well. That's not easy. You want to grab one of these instruments and see how you sound? Feel, right? Then there's an intellectual ability. So you got physical and there's an intellectual ability. You have to take this stuff on the page, a bunch of lines, a bunch of dots, a bunch of little arcs, and you have to convert it into something. You have to translate it. You're really learning a completely different language. Then there's also an emotional aspect. If you play music without any emotion, it's not going to happen at all. And finally, there's a social thing. You want to do, how many times do you have to put your work in front of 200 people? And then maybe something as personal as what it is for the instrumentalists on stage. It's really hard. Physical, intellectual, emotional, and social. I don't know of anything else that combines all those things. The challenge is worth it. And I want you to remember that. Is sometimes with playing music, you get involved in so many other things that you can put it on the back burner. But I don't think there's much of anything that's as worthwhile as playing music and playing it really well. We're going to play our last number, which I think you're going to enjoy. I think this one might be the favorite one of the one on stage. We're going to see. It's called Earth Dance, and it's about the earth. Imagine that, okay? It's really written, shocker, right? It's really a situation where what they're trying to do is he's trying to think about nature and think about earth and how it kind of, it's awe-inspiring, and it can be so powerful and so unpredictable and so beautiful and so exciting, all kind of rolled together. You're going to hear and you're going to actually see some things here that are trying to set you up to think about the earth and how important it is that we value that resource and that we respect all the things that are going on here. It's going to start with a rainstorm. You'll get what I mean in a second. And that rainstorm is really to try to create the mood for the rest of the piece, so that your mind kind of gets into thinking about nature a little bit. So I hope you enjoy it. It's certainly a unique piece, and it's one that the kids really enjoy. Thank you for coming to the concert. Thank you for the support of these kids. And I hope you enjoy our final selection.
you.